Up is Way Up with Angela Yee, and long time Lupe Fiasco is here with me.
What up?
Congrats. It's been a long time since I've seen you, I feel like.
Yeah, it's been a while.
You know what? I was, when they first said you were coming up here, I was thinking about when you had did that protest outside of Atlantic Records.
I didn't do that. Here we go. Started attaching ornaments to me like a Christmas tree. My fans did that. They were like, yo, we want that album. I think it was Lasers. Mm-hmm. So that was 2011.
You were there, though. You showed up for
I
your
had
fans.
to show up.
Yeah,
it was like, what do I do? Do I not show up? So I showed up to see. It was a vibe. Police wouldn't let me in the building. It was crazy. That was a vibe. But yes,
that was an amazing time because I've never seen something like that happen before, where your fans actually start this whole protest. Mm-hmm. Some of the employees were outside too, I feel like.
Yeah. And it was a legit protest. They like went to the city of New York, got a permit. Police had to come down. It was a whole thing. Uh-huh. Yeah, some folks who came out. I think Leor came out. Someone else came to appease the masses.
Right.
I just went there to say what's up, to show my support, and then I left. The police made me leave, actually.
At that point in time, what was your relationship like with Atlantic?
We already know what that is.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was becoming bad. It was like, and it just kind of culminated in that because it was looking like, yo, they're going to push the album back. Fans like, nah, we need that. Mm-hmm. But that was the fans.
Right, that was the fans. Okay. Because, you know, with you being there, it looked like...
wasn't me. The gun's not mine. No fingerprints. That's not mine. But no, I had to show up for them. Mm-hmm. You know, I felt like it was important. Like, okay, what you gonna choose? You know, the label gonna be here, even if you did your whole contract, another 3 albums. You know, it's 10 years or something like that. But these fans, like these are people that be with you to the end of your career. You know, so you pick. You know, I felt I chose wisely.
Yeah, you had to show up. It would have been crazy.
Yeah.
It was nice that you were able to be there with them. Yeah. Let's go back before that, though, because that wasn't your first deal, was it?
No.
No, it wasn't, right?
No.
Yeah, this music business has been a crazy one.
I've been in the music business for like 25 years. I've been in the music business. My first deal when I was, I'm finna do some stupid math. I'm 42. I got my first record deal when I was 18.
Okay.
So that's 20 years? 24?
Yeah, 24 years.
24 years.
So where was your first deal?
I was on Sony. I was on Epic Records.
Okay, and what happened there?
It was a group called The Pack.
Oh, that's right.
We had a song called Armpits.
And then I think...
It was fire, though, for the time.
Armpits.
You know, Armpits. That was my first deal.
Mm-hmm. With label issues, is that why you guys broke up, or was it issues with each other?
It was like one of those. It was a time where it was like, yo, he can rap. Y'all just made each other tonight. Okay, cool, perfect. Y'all a group now, right? We're gonna take this group, package it up with some other joints, and then now we're gonna get y'all a deal, you know, at Epic Records. That's kind of how it was. It was a deal with a label called Raw Dope in Chicago, which had Crucial Conflict and some other acts. And so we were kind of like the last of that era, and it was a strange deal, super strange. You doing like it's supposed to be like a showcase freestyle battle thing, and they're like, oh yo, he nice. Y'all all in the group, and it was another dude who wasn't even there. Now we put him in the group where y'all went to the crib, so now it's 4 of y'all, and this is another thing. But shout out to D-Lo, Butcher Blast. My man Navi.
Okay,
and
so you still talk to them?
I mean, from time to time, my man, one of the dudes, Navi, he does a lot of like stuntman stuff.
Okay.
Stuntman stuff. So he's on like some TV shows and acting and stuff like that. But yeah, he was like the Ja Rule, DMX of the group. The other dude, D-Lo, he was like the smooth. What was he like? Like MC8, kind of a guy. And then Butcher was like I can't even define Butcher. And I guess I was like the nerdy rapper backpack dude.
All right. And so then after that, solo.
After that solo, me and my man Chill, that's when I met my man Chill. He was one of the managers of the group.
Okay.
And we started a company, and then it was a solo thing, and it was supposed to be Rockefeller Records. We was up here hanging out with Jay and the squad.
I saw you knocked on the door at the Peninsula. He opened the door.
Jay opened the door, and I was like, yo, what up? What up, rap? Yo, you nice. And I was like, Jay-Z think I'm nice. So that was a thing. And
he
then,
never offered you a deal?
Yeah.
Okay. Did he say you're not leaving this room?
Nah, he ain't do nothing like that. We had a different relationship. But how was it? It was like, yo, Rockefeller could potentially be a thing, And then it was like, yo, let's just start our own company. So me and my man Seale started First and 15th.
So you met Chill through the group, the pack.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
and then y'all just really connected as far as management and artists. Okay.
Chill was in the music business in different capacities before that. So he was with Raldo Records. He did some stuff with Dre. There's a bunch of just different little connects and pieces and stuff here. And then he had a management company called On the Rocks. So we were managed by On the Rocks. Half of the group was managed by On the Rocks, and which included me. So he dissolved On the Rocks. We started First and 15th, and then we got a deal at Arista.
Okay.
So my first like solo look as young Fiasco, Lupe Fiasco, was Arista Records.
And then what happened at Arista?
So Arista is where I really learned how to become an artist, right? It was a lot of like, real proper A&Ring, right?
Who
like
else was signed there at the time?
Who was there? There was a bunch of people. I feel like Q-Tip was there as Kamala Abstract. Who else did I remember? I feel like Divine Mill, so like KG, like his whole like piece was there. There's a ton of people there. Bad Boy was in there. Who else was floating around? Because this is the L.A. Reid years of Arista from like 2001 up until like 2004.
And what type of deal was this? Was this a good deal that you signed financially? Like, did you get a nice bonus a signing bonus? Did you get all the things?
We worked a little differently because we already had money coming in. And then it was like, this ain't money. Like, this is just loans. So we always kept like a production deal, label deal type arrangement whenever we did deals. Even with Atlantic, it was a label deal.
So you had First and 15th already
First and 15th, right,
established. Right. Okay, I'm just trying to see the whole projection to how
we
got to where we are now.
It's some sneaky layers and things that are in there like most business, but just straight up and down, it's like we had a production deal. So First and 15th was doing all the beats, responsible for putting the album together, creative control, all that stuff. But at the same time, too, we on a major label, taking advantage of all the things that major labels have to offer. And that's why I said, like, that part was really like the artist development stage for me. Learn how to make records, learn how to make pop records, learn how to make club records, learning how to make, because I'm going from being the backpack rap dude in this random put-together group to being like, now it's on you to kind of be a solo artist, and you need to be able to make songs for this, make songs for that, make songs for this.
That's so interesting you say that, because back then, people really did feel like if you could battle rap or if you were a backpack rapper, you wouldn't be able to make those type of songs that could be on the radio. It was kind of like, remember when they used to do Freestyle Fridays on 106 and Park, and all those battle rappers would never make it to like... Because
it's an art form in itself. It's not just something that you just pick up because you know how to rap. Like, just because you know how to rap don't mean you know how to make songs. And a thing with me, I knew how to rap and make songs. I didn't know how to perform.
Okay.
So my performances were trash, like real bad. And I had to kind of learn that. I kind of learned how to perform when I was at Atlantic.
That's good. I'm glad you say that, because I do feel like sometimes I get let down when I go to see artists perform, and I could love the album and listen to it, but then I go see the show and I'm like, this is so boring.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and I'm not naming any names, but because they know.
Don't do that, because Lupe, because
know how I get in trouble. I get in trouble. But there's artists who know. I'm talking about like established artists who know, like, who will tell you like, yo, I didn't know how to perform until this album.
Right.
Right? You're like, what? Like, but your classic is this, and you did that, and you did that. It's like, yeah, but I didn't really get my chops. And it really depends on how exposed you are. I learned how to perform because I was doing festivals and tours with like rock bands, and like different genres and different people. And maybe that's because of Kick Push and the music I was making. I wasn't doing like hip hop shows.
Right.
I was doing like this random college show with this pop band with such and such, because that's the lane, and that's where Atlantic kind of had us. And so I learned how to entertain.
Even when Kick Push came out, that was something different, because prior to that, I can't think of too many skateboarding, hip hop.
There was some people, Dale the Funky Homo Sapien. There was some folks who was like part of skate culture, but not like here's this skateboard song.
Right, exactly. Because it wasn't that, now we see like Lil Wayne has skate parks and doing things like that. But Kick Push, it was early on, I would say, with that.
Yeah, it's like you made a decision. And it's really, really real. It was like my man Chill had caught a case. We caught a case in 2003. And so from 2003 until like 2004, he was locked up. So he got out in 2004. We lost our deal, or what happened at Arista, L.A. Reid got fired.
Okay, I remember
and so
that.
all of those acts had to go to Jive or go to get distributed out. We wanted to get dropped so we could go to Atlantic because Jay-Z was supposed to be going to Atlantic. Mark Pitts was supposed to be going to Atlantic. So we looked at it like, oh, all our homies, we just going to go over to Atlantic and be over there. And so when we got to when Chill came home to fight the case, it was like a decision. It was like, hey, do we stick? Because my old records was all like hood, street shit, little blends of this, that, and the third. It definitely wasn't like kick, push, nerdy backpack shit. I have records with like 3 6 Mafia, all type of crazy stuff. And it was the decision to be like, yo, what do we want to be? Because now this album's coming out. You're going to be, there's no more artist development. This is going to come out. What's the first thing you want the world to know? Outside of your mixtapes, all these other things. People know you can rap. You got a little buzz here, that. And it was like a choice. Do you make this like hood street music to entertain the hood? Or do you just do something that's just completely out the box? And we had Kick Push versus this other record. And I was like, let's Kick Push.
What was the other record?
I can't remember. It was some Hustlers something. Hustlers with a Z.
A lot of artists have a difficult time with those decisions because they feel like once you go from doing like the street records to doing something that's more pop music or mainstream, it's hard to go back.
Oh, yeah, you can't go back.
Right.
That's true. That's facts. Once you put that into the DNA, it's locked and you there. You can touch it. You can reference it, but nah, you'll always be known as this. I'm always be known as the skateboard dude. I'm not even known as like the lyrical dude. I'm known as like.
I think people know
that's
you.
that skateboard dude.
I feel like people look at you as the lyrical.
Take everybody, outside of hip hop,
okay.
outside of whatever, just the random person on the street. They're like, oh, that's Lupe, that's the skateboard dude.
Did that bother you, or you were okay with that?
Nah, that's safe. You know how safe that is?
I think some artists hate the fact that they made that choice and now they're over here, and now it's like it's a different genre. Yeah. And sometimes it's not maybe who you feel like you are.
Nah, I mean, it's better than being the shot at dude.
Yeah,
that's
true.
The shot at dude. Like, he always getting shot at. Like, nah. So
we don't
keep
want
you
that.
safe.
Okay.
But it's a beautiful. I skateboarded when I was a little kid. Everybody had a little interaction with it. I'm not no pro skater. I never was trying to do freestyle tricks or anything like that. But it's a part of my kind of DNA. And the story itself about that record, we can move on, but whatever. The story about that is the song's not about skateboarding, right? It's about somebody who grew up and happened to skateboard, and skateboarding was their kind of like way out or their pathway, the thing that brought them a certain level of joy. So it's still like a story. It just happens to be about somebody who, loves skating and things like that. But it could have been just as easy about somebody who loves the streets or somebody who loves a woman or somebody who loves, what have you. But yeah, it does put you in different spaces and different places.
Okay. All right. Then Atlantic, things at first they seemed cool, right? Like you felt like Atlantic was going to be behind you. They really wanted you to come there.
Yeah.
At first.
Maybe. There was like there's always the honeymoon period, right?
Right.
There's always the honeymoon.
You're here. Let's have the meetings.
Let's
meet
do
the whole
it.
staff.
We just gave you a check. But even still, it's weird because we didn't accept a lot of money.
Okay.
So our deals were always like, we just need enough money to honestly to not even finish the record. Like, we just taking this money because it's like there, but like my first budget was like $100,000 for food.
That's crazy because people have always said to me, get as much money as you can up front because you don't know what's going to end up happening, right? So sometimes artists, you do get dropped, and then I don't know what happens if you still owe money after
you do.
that.
So it's like you get dropped, but you still owe them that money. So it's
right.
like, to me, that's not money. Like, I would never take a loan deal. Like, never. Like, we good. Like, any type of recoup, never again. But we never really did. So the relationship was kind of weird. Actually, the money that we got, I'll just give you numbers. The money that we got was like $300,000 and then $100 for the record. The $300 advance was to bail Chill out of jail.
Okay.
So we bailed Chill out of jail with the Atlantic advance.
He's like, thank
right?
you. We needed that
for
right
real.
now.
Like, that check went straight to Cook County Jail, right? So the relationship has always been a little like, we there, but the only reason we here is because Jay-Z was supposed to come here, and he wound up going to Def Jam.
Right.
And then because Mark Pitts was supposed to be here, but he wound up going to somewhere else.
That's why you always do things
we
assigned before you make those decisions.
But to Craig Kalman's credit, he came and visited Chill in jail, and kind of, people weren't doing that. So you got the chairman of the board coming to visit the homie. So it's like, okay, cool, but it's still a weird relationship. And then it blew up at Kick Push.
And so at that point in time, now I know that story about Kick Push, and I know during that time, that's when artists were signing 360 deals.
Nah,
not
360s
yet.
didn't come
Not
until
till later.
To the cool, so 2009. So
okay.
We got to Atlantic at 2005. Food and Liquor came out in 2006. Into 2006, so you just started to have the inklings of what a 360 deal in those 2006, 2008, 2009, 2010, and then after like 2011, it became like standard.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you weren't in that, it was kind of like,
oh yeah, Leo was like, yo, if you don't sign this deal, we're not promoting any of your records.
Yeah, because
I was like, yo, nigga, I got like 6 more albums to do. Like, what are you talking about?
And I want to break that down in a second, but first, let's go back to this Kick Push situation because I saw you and Joe Button talking about that.
Yeah.
On live and how basically you had that song before.
Yeah.
Right. So explain to me, if people didn't see that was a situation where
it's small and it may seem like, petty, and I know maybe folks and fans and members of the community are used to like big stories, like and then this big shit happened and the building did this and then and the street exploded and but sometimes the most like pivotal and important moments in somebody's career are these really small things. Like a small thing happens, and that small thing is representative of this wider problem that's about to become a bane in your life for the next 20 years. And ours was, First and 15 Productions was always an independent production company. We weren't necessarily a record label because we didn't distribute, right? But we could get songs on the radio, we could do little things here and there. And we had got Kick Push on the radio in Chicago. So this is in the midst of Atlantic kind of putting things together, this, that, and the third. So we moving and grooving, shaking and baking, doing what we do. And the head of the radio station at the time, the PD, calls Chill, because they don't, first name basis, cell phone, call me, you need something. And he was like, yo, we just got a call from Craig Kalman himself. The chairman of Atlantic Records telling us to slow down and on playing the record, like to slow the spins down, because we spin it up. So we get through mix show, we get into rotation. Now we looking at power rotation, and at that point, GCI, the station in Chicago, was the big stick for the region. So whatever
we're on GCI too, so shout out to GCI. Yeah.
Whatever Chicago was playing, the rest, Milwaukee would play, and then Detroit would play, and so in that region. So to get in power rotation meant like, we one step away from being national with a record independently without Atlantic doing anything. So it's like, hey, once y'all tune in, shout to Crespo, shout to all the folks, the promotion folks at Atlantic. It's like, okay, we've already built it up like this. Y'all just come in and knock it out the box, take it where it needs to go. But that didn't happen. The CEO was telling people to stop playing the record. So he didn't think we would know. We have a meeting at the label. I wasn't there. And he was talking something, because again, the honeymoon's over now.
Right.
You got the money. We bailed you out of jail. What the fuck you finna do for us now? And it was like, okay. He said something, and Chill was like, yo, why don't you tell him how you stopped playing them? And couldn't nobody believe it. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, like your man's, and Matt, shout out to my man Gene Deal, a few other folks, they stood up, was like, yo, like, why would you do that? Why would you injure a record like that, right? And his excuse was like, yo, I felt we weren't ready, blah, blah, blah. But then it becomes, again, that's that small thing where people are like, yeah, so somebody called because they weren't ready. We could rationalize that. But it was a symptom of a wider problem that Atlantic has. That not anymore, because that whole regime is gone. But it was, we're not signing you for you. We're not signing you for you and your records. That's just proof for us that when we send you into the studio with our records, you're going to be able to perform, right? We're not interested in your story and your life and your creative this and that, and the third. We just interested in knowing that you're able to rap and perform or sing or do whatever. Now, that just got you up to here. Now we need these big records, right? And you think like, okay, cool, we need these big records. Okay, cool. We can make big records if it's just about big records, because, superstars, all us, right? Or we know how to make big pop records. I learned how to do that at Arista. No. When we talk about big records, we talk about records that are not only going to be distributed and released through Atlantic, but also all the publishing is owned by Warner Chappell. The sample that you're going to sample the record from is owned by Warner Chappell catalog. The songwriters who wrote the chorus are signed to Warner Chappell. Warner Chappell is owned by Craig Cowman and what's the other kid's name? Can't even think of this dude's name. Mike Caron.
Okay.
Like they have actual personal investment in this thing.
Right, he's big on doing the big pop records, and
only because only the big pop records that they have at least 3 or 4 entryways of finance into.
Okay, so they want to keep everything in house so that the money's circulating in house.
So it's like if you came up to the label, it's like, yo, I got this song that I wrote that I think would be great for Pink, right? They're like, oh, that's cool, you know? Look, why don't you sign a 10-song deal with us?
Okay.
Right? They wouldn't just say, yo, that's dope, keep doing it, you know, here's a check for that one record, you get a little publishing, keep it moving. Like, nah, we need to own everything that you do from now on. We need to own all the rights. Who else potentially could have wrote on it? We need to sign them. And so by the time it gets to me, they've already...
They made 10 times what you
made. They're triple dipping. And that was just, it's genius business. But it's a terrible way to treat artists.
Right. It's not a creative business. It's a business.
It's a business, right? Because in that, it's like your records, whatever, we're not interested in your records, even though they could be just as good or even better or have more potential. And then that flip is, and this is why I have no sympathy for them or anything like that. And I tell artists this because I think it's important to let the artistic community know, like, this is what you're really dealing with. I'm not making this up. I'm not gassing anything. And I'll stand on this in the court of law and say the same thing. You know, Leo was like, yo, if you don't sign this 360 deal, we're not promoting your records. Not only are we not promoting your records, we're not promoting even the records that we give you.
Right. I've heard that from artists. If you don't sign a 360 deal, because there were artists who already signed and then they want you to then rework your deal to make it a 360 deal. So they're getting money from merch. They're getting money from
touring.
You know, now, streaming is happening now. So that's a whole nother situation.
They're invested in the streaming companies, but just personally, like they got their own personal investment into it.
Because they're not making as much. So they're like, if we're not going, we'd rather put our all into another artist who's got a 360 deal than to an artist who doesn't, and that has his own situation, and we're just doing distribution. That doesn't really make us any money.
It makes them a ton of money. I mean, they still got a ton of catalog. You still got all this, but you're gonna spend that same amount of money managing it, and that's what I told them. Like, yo, let's be business for real. I'm a really intelligent guy, right? Street side, business side, however you want to play it. Let's be honest. You don't do this. Like, you're not known to sell merch. You're not known to book. UTA is right across the street, right? I'm signed to CAA. I'm signed to William Morris. Like, y'all do not do agency work. So now you're trying to be an agency, but you're still going to have to spend money to build that part of your business. So you're going to wind up breaking even. Right? To keep it a buck. And at the end of the day, you're going to own the most valuable thing in this whole situation. Still the most valuable thing in any situation is the masters, right? And so I asked for, when Leo said that to me, I was like, cool. I didn't like, you blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, cool. Okay, I'm gonna need some collateral. Won't you give me my masters? I'm only 2 albums in, right? I don't mind. As a matter of fact, I'll help you build out the 360 piece, at least when it comes to fashion, because I know folks in the fashion world up and down the chain. And then you could really tailor make your merch deals to the artists and do it through the whole system, like fully vertically integrated through the whole system, from the designer to the retail to the pop-up to the manufacturing to the distribution to the fulfillment, the whole piece. And it was kind of like, nah, we got a guy that can do that. And it's like, well, I don't trust that. What is their profile? Let me see that piece, because you're asking me to sign into 6 different businesses now. Right. And the same level
who's
of
the guy?
Like, who is that? Who's gonna be booking shows? You know, who's gonna be running sponsorships? Right? Who's gonna be? I get syncs and, you know, pitching things to TV shows and movies and stuff like that. But I'm talking about, like, what's this random little speaking engagement? Like, who's gonna be in charge of doing that? It can't be Crespo. Like, who you gonna hire? But then you gotta hire somebody. So now you saying, like, oh, we're gonna make X amount of dollars, but you finna spend another X amount of dollars building that up. So they had to miss me with the bullshit. It was like, give this to dude or give this to old girl, you know, all blessings, but you're not finna do that to me. So I didn't sign, and my career was like, goodbye.
Wow.
So my career ended at Lasers.
All right, so then you did Lasers. Wow. That's wild, though. But why not also, because clearly you wanted to get off the label at that point, right?
When Leo told me that, I was like, then there's nothing else to do here.
Right.
Like, this is all, from this point, I can get through Craig doing his little random shenanigans with songs and double dipping and Warner Chappell only releasing, like, they went out and bought, I give it to you like this. So Kick Push is a sample. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very rare, unique sample that was released on some song in the Philippines back in wherever. Right? Really local kind of thing.
So you got it cleared.
The only reason that we have that sample is because the producer soundtrack is Filipino, and it's part of his kind of he heard that song coming up as a kid because dad playing it, but we never heard that record before, ever. Non-Filipino, shout out to all my Filipinos. But like, just, that's not in the milieu. So the only reason we know it because it has this very regional piece. Soundtrack does it. We do the record. People love it. Pops off. Atlantic, so you think like, okay, Craig is trying to slow the record down. Like, why? Mm-hmm. Why is he trying to slow the record down? That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's popping. It's hard to get records placed at radio. It's a lot of competition. 50's right here. Lil Wayne's right here. Such and such right here. Here's the little record that could trying to make it through. Why would you do that? Right? Why would you do that? Why would the chairman of this public company make that decision so detailed for himself to call this little radio station in Chicago to tell him to stop playing this record before it goes national? Mm-hmm. Because at the same time that they were doing that, they were flying somebody to the Philippines to find this lady to buy the sample.
That's dedication.
That's what they did.
That is dedication.
They flew somebody to the Philippines to find the person, and they bought the rights to the record. So they own the Kick Push sample.
So they were making money anyway off of it, but they were waiting to get the sample.
Right. They're like, let's not go national yet, because we don't own the record yet.
Now, when they call to ask GCI to slow it down, does the program director say yes, or because you guys have your own relationship?
But he has to make a decision.
Right, because there's other artists.
Because there's other artists and there's other things and there's other benefits to keeping your relationship. And who are we, right? We in the city, we're going to come find you, right? But we're not going to do that. So, but at the end of the day, that's the only thing you really got to worry about with us. Mm-hmm. But with them, you got to worry about them blacklisting you from this artist if they want to come perform at your birthday, summer bash, celebration concert.
Now you can't get any of our artists.
Now you can't get none of our artists. You can't do this, you can't do that. And so it's genius business. As a business, there are no rules. Whatever I need to do, kidnap your grandmother, fine. For real, right? But if we're trying to create a relationship, like friends and artists and creativity, nothing. So I think I just wasn't built for that part because I was like, I just came from the streets. I don't want to go back to the streets. If that's the case, we go back to the streets.
Well, how did you end up getting off Atlantic finally?
Anonymous, the hacker group, we was on my fifth album. It was called Tattoo on Youth. Mm-hmm. And same thing. Did a bunch of records. Did it, like, beat them to the punch. Knowing that y'all gonna come with all these big, huge, big pop records with these big acts and these gigantic hooks. Went to them first. Give me all your records.
Right.
Let's just get this out the way. Yeah. Because you finna ruin this fucking album. If I try and put this album together the way I want to do it, I know you're going to come in with these big-ass records that ain't got nothing to do with the concept or the theme or none of that because you don't really care. Okay, cool. Let's get that out the way, and I'll build the album after I have your records out the way.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then it was like, they send me their records, do their records. And then it got into this weird feedback loop where it's like, we don't like that record. I'm like, it's your record.
You gave it to me.
Like, we don't like it anymore. We want you to do this. I said, I'm not doing that. So then it became like, well, we might not put it out. Same conversation. I was like, all right, well, then if that's the case, I'm going to just go back and just make a 9-minute record of straight bars, which is what Mural was. I'm going to pull off all of this pop shit, this big radio shit, and I'm going to just make a album with a bunch of dope-ass records.
What you want.
But this is happening prior to, like, what I'm about to say, how I got off the label. So we did same bullshit. Send me your records. Now you don't like your records. I'm not finna spend 9 months chasing Lady Gaga. I'm not finna do that, right? Anonymous, the hack. So I'm like, hey y'all, my fans. Gotta stick with fans. Yo, album release date. What's the release date? Well, I don't know. Well, oh shit, but they know now. So now the fans know. They like, yo, we've been through this back 3 albums. Every album is this release date shenanigans. Okay, cool. Some of my fans happen to be computer hackers by the name of Anonymous, right? So Anonymous, if folks don't know, they're like the world's largest anonymous computer hacker. They attack whole countries. They attack the KKK. They, did all type of crazy stuff. North Korea, like they're wild, right?
And they're fans of Lupe Fiasco.
And they just happen to be fans of Lupe Fiasco because of Occupy Wall Street.
Okay.
Right? I raised some money for Occupy Wall Street. Took some generators, food, out to different camps around the country because I believed in it, right? Money out of politics. I believed in that. So those kids were behind that. And now, mind you, I don't know who these people are. They're anonymous.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know any of these
people. They don't want you to know who they are.
I didn't ask them to do anything. But once it became hinted there's no release date for Tetsuo on Youth, at the time they were attacking, when I say attacking, cyber attacking, North Korea or something like that, the North Korean government, and the Ku Klux Klan, right? Doxing all the members of the Ku Klux Klan, right? Because you have people in Atlanta that's police chiefs or whatever that are members of the Ku Klux Klan. Not Atlanta, but somewhere random town in Georgia, this dude is the police chief and just happened to be the grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. So they was like, okay, pause that action. This is Atlantic Records, because you know how they do their thing. Yeah. Atlantic with the dude with the beef and vendetta mask, for real. Atlantic Records, you have a history of blah 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 with your artist. If you do not give Lupe Fiasco a release date within 24 hours for his album, we're going to dox and cyber attack Atlantic Records, Warner Music, and all of your subsidiary companies, employees, and everyone. Now I got real family. I consider family at Atlantic, right? But they we finna dox everyone. DDoS attack, we finna shut down your servers, the whole shit. You got 24 hours. And 24 hours later, it was a release date. I put out a release date. And they asked me what did I want to do. And I'm going to keep it a buck. They was yo, Lupe. I was I ain't got shit to do with this. What Lupe, what's going on? I was fuck them. Why would you submit to that? Right? Just do whatever it needs to do, right? So they put out a release date. Julie Greenwald called me, got in touch with Chill, was yo, not only that, here's the release date, but then also here's your release date.
Oh, wow. You got to go.
You got to get up. You got to get the fuck up out of here.
Was that good news for you? Here's your release date.
I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. That period of time in Atlantic was very dark for me, suicidal, want to hurt people. Wow. It was bad. It was real bad.
Because, I mean, that's crazy. So you really felt because you were trapped is what it felt like.
Yeah. I was trapped. I couldn't do it. And you can't do nothing. It's you want to put people in the trunk, for real. And it's you can't do that. You can't do that. It deserves it, but I don't want to go to jail for this.
No, definitely not.
This is stupid.
Yeah. And during this time, that's when Chill was also locked up.
He's still locked up. Chill didn't get out until last year.
Yeah, he got out last year, but so he was locked up.
He's locked up. He
right.
couldn't. His hands are tied. I'm going crazy. It took some folks at the label who actually lost their jobs because they came to my defense to be yo, come here. Let me take you out of that. Put you in this space. I can relate to what's going on, but don't hurt yourself.
Right.
And don't hurt nobody else, And so for me, it was just kind of shout to Big U. I mean, Big U hit me up in the midst of all this and was yo, out the blue. He's yo, we Muslims, we men, we stand on the things that we sign. So you sign this contract with these people, finish it. Stick to your word. Don't let them take you off of that. And so Big U was actually one of the pieces, in addition to kind of the soft, sensitive stuff that I needed. He was here's this street nigga I respect, who was when we put our name on something, whether it's fucked up or not, we finish it. So I head down, finished it with the expectation that I was just going to be on Atlantic until we were done.
Yeah. Right? That's so true because I think in this business, no matter what, you'll sign a contract somewhere, whether it's a record deal, a management contract, whatever kind of contract, there's always contracts you'll sign that you wish you wouldn't have. And you might spend more money getting sued, or you might spend money trying to get out of it, or you might try to ignore it and then have other issues. But that is kind of good advice to just finish out the contract if you have to, because it caused you way more problems if you try to go around it or do whatever, unless you can go reason with somebody, which is not an easy thing to do either.
I absorbed that the reason we signed it was to get Chill out of jail.
Right.
And so I have no regrets. I do that 1,000 times. You know, that was the goal, to get my man out. And so that's what we did.
And there was a period of time that you also were like, I retired.
Yeah, I retired a bunch of times. I mean, you gotta.
But you can't, like, because it is.
That's saying you can't. You can't.
You can't.
I can't. I've done some things. Like, I've done some things recently, even now, like down at Chill's home, was able to kind of like not be so much of a soldier, not be so much of like the one man army, and start to kind of like disengage from things that actually would tear me up. So like social media, was able to disengage from that. And I have somebody who handles and runs that. We got somebody who runs this for me. So now it's like, I told Chill, like, listen, when you come home, all I want to do, I want you to come take care of my cars, because I got a bunch of cars that are just sitting rusting in my garage. Come help me with these cars, and all I want to do is rap.
I want to be an artist.
I just want to rap.
Right. But you need somebody that you can trust, that can handle the business. So he just came home last year. So how have things changed for you since that happened? Because the new album, Samurai, is out now, too. And we'll talk about that in a second. I know we've been talking about a whole bunch of other things.
It's important.
But how did things change when he came home?
Because
that was, what, 16 years? How long?
He's in prison for like 17 years.
17 years.
And then that was that period of time where he was in the county for like a year, when we was right in the heart of our deal with Arista. So 18 and whatever you want to call it. But this is somebody I met when I was like 17, you know, wanting to rap, and built this structure around me to achieve that goal for me, you know. So to me, he's like family, father figure, that whole piece. And then to kind of lose that right at the height, like, so superstar, Chill's in jail, you know. So now I'm experiencing all of this fame, fortune, but then all of the dirty stuff that's building up under the scene, right? But all of the other beautiful stuff that's happening too. But I'm like by myself, you know. And then trying to manage and do all that stuff. So anyway, long story short, for him to be home, it was just kind of like a relief. You know, like, I ain't got to work, but at the same time too, he managing stuff over the phone.
Yeah,
like,
it's
people
different
asking,
though. It's different.
But he's still having meetings, business meetings, stuff like that, trying to listen to albums. So he's signed, executive producing albums he's never heard, right? But to keep his mind occupied, to keep him feeling like he got something to do. So he did have something to do. So when he come home, you know, it was beautiful. We was in the studio. We got a big studio in Chicago that he built when he was in jail. And we just kind of like vibing, like day one, you know.
I know he came home and was like, Chicago has changed from.
It ain't changed.
You don't think so?
Same as we went in. Nah, only thing that changed for him, he don't know how to use his phones. That's it. He don't know how to use the smartphones.
I did this story today about Chicago. According to Condé Nast Traveler, they said it's the #1 big city in the United States, like, for people to visit.
Yeah, it's a vibe. You know, we got a lot of. I see all sides of it, you know, and I grew up in all different parts of the city. So it's there. You got a nice little lake situation, got a nice park.
Yeah, you got to be on the boats and stuff like that.
Yeah,
people like, are we going on the boats today?
Nice little vintage building situations. People are nice. It's clean. Yeah.
In certain parts, right.
Yeah. Even in the hood, even in the trenches, it's still kind of clean.
When you go to Chicago, it's like a clean New York. That's how I look at Chicago.
I'll take that.
It's like a clean New York to me.
I'll take that.
And a little windier.
It's like a really, really good Jersey City.
Okay, I can see that. With better shopping and,
you know,
and more to do.
Step up, you know.
Okay. All right, so now you have Samurai out. Congratulations on that.
You.
And I know the whole inspiration behind that was not that it's based on Amy Winehouse, but just a quote that you heard from her in her documentary.
Yeah.
All right, so explain that for everyone to hear.
During the pandemic, was watching, I think it was pandemic times. I'm a big documentary fan. Watch a lot of art documentaries. So whenever I'll pass on a ton of movies, but if a doc comes up,
oh my gosh,
like,
me too.
I'll
like Teddy Pendergrass, that was one of my favorite.
I'll give it a little peek. So hers came up. Of course, big fan of her music, and so I'm watching it. But it shows the other side, and you know, all artists relate to that, even if it's not a substance thing, even if it's not like there's just something about being in the life of an artist, struggling, trying to get your music out, do all your stuff, or you face a lot of those things, how you cope with it in different ways, right? But when she said that, you know, left a voicemail for Salam Remy and was like, yo, you know, keep coming. They got this Wu-Tang. They keep coming to these battle raps. You know, if you want to battle, come get me. I'll kill you because I'm a samurai. It was like, yo, bing.
I love it.
You know that gif with Leonardo DiCaprio where he snaps and points at the TV. I don't know what movie they took it from. Might be from Wolf of Wall Street. Where he's like, yo, that's how I was, like on the couch. Like, yo, what if Amy Winehouse was a battle rapper?
Right.
What did that look like? What does that feel like? And so initially just started as like taking that what she said. I got these really neat, very beautifully alliterated little battle raps. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna just take that stock, make a chorus out of that, and just build like a little portrait of her, you know. And so you just got this one song, and then that turns into like, well, if she was a battle rapper, you know, how she get her powers? How she learn how to rap? So then you tell that, now that's another song, right? Then it's like, well, who did she battle? Then that's like another song.
I love that.
Like, did you win? It's like, oh, that's another song. And it actually was building a little project, a little side thing during the pandemic. And Seale called me and was like, hey, I need an album. I'm like, for what? You in jail? Like, what are you gonna do with it? So he's like, no, we need an album. I was like, all right, cool. I'm working on this thing right now. You know, this little project right here. And I don't know if it's when you're explaining it, it's just weird to somebody. Like, yeah, what if Amy Winehouse was a battle rapper? What you think about that?
I think when you come up with concepts, because you always have different concepts for your projects, but I think that's what works, right? Because storytelling is so important to me.
Yeah. Even if the music that makes up that narrative is a little suspect, you know, there's some about having a concept that's just intriguing that will carry the music, you know. So some of it's like a little cheat code when you do that. But he was like, nah, let's not. Nah. He's like, whatever with that.
Yeah, not that one.
I need something else. And I did drill. I put Samurai to the side, and I did drill music in Zion for him. I did that in like 3 days, and then kind of like you go off into promoting that, doing that, and then when he came home, I played like all of the little projects and stuff that I've been working on since he's been away. And I was like, yo, this is this one piece, the samurai thing, and it was unfinished. So he started listening to it. He's like, yo, let's do that one. I was like, nigga, that's the one I played. I told you when you was in jail.
No.
He's like, nah, that wasn't me. Somebody else. So we finished it. And he actually properly executive produced that one. He arranged it, did the whole thing, mixed it down, finished the records, and was like, we're done. Because I was going to do more records.
I saw you had all kinds of plans, like to even have a woman do it and maybe write the project and have someone else perform it. There's
a couple female MCs that I know that I was like, maybe I could get them to do it.
Who would you have thought of?
There's a woman by the name of Naira. There's another MC, C Blue, IT. She just went to college. Young MC. I was thinking maybe she'd do it, but it was like what's the optimal way to do this? Right? Should it be a female MC doing the battle parts? Maybe I'm just like narrating, but when it's a part where it becomes like battling, like a female MC does it. I was thinking about just hiring like a voice actress to kind of do it. But Seale was like, no, we're done. Like, yeah, we're done, homie.
This is it.
Like, relax. And so here you are. Now we're doing, how long has it been out? Like maybe 2 months, 3 months. Very, very good reviews, which is dope. We're doing a tour now of the record.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You just kicked off the tour in New York. Was the first date. Okay.
So we got 2 more months. So we're going to hit the U.S. Last show's in L.A., November 25th.
Where do you think, is Chicago the place when you go perform there that it goes, like people come out the craziest, or where would you say that is?
I mean, I got a huge fan base here in New York.
Yeah,
right? So
definitely
New York always turns up. LA always turns up. It's really the major cities, but you'd be surprised at certain little pockets, you know, where people kind of pull up. Denver, you know, different spots, but the little major cities. Yeah.
I could see this. Maybe you should be writing plays and things like that.
I did write a play.
Yeah.
I wrote a musical. I was secretly coming back and forth to New York over the past like couple years at the Armory.
Okay.
So shout out to Rebecca Teichman, Lynn Nottage, and my man Will Wells. So we sat and started to flesh out a musical based around Drogas Wave.
Oh wow, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So that's gonna happen.
It's the first draft is done.
I love that because I go to praise all the time, and I feel like we need more of that. And I can see the storytelling that you do that could play out like. Yeah. You know, started off on Off-Broadway and then get it to Broadway, just kind of like how Hell's Kitchen did. Yeah. I could see something like that. That'll be amazing to be able to see.
We'll see if we get the green light. But the draft is done. And yes, so I've done that.
Do you write for other people?
I try not to. So no, I don't. There's nothing I can really point to say I wrote that. But I try not to. You know, I think everybody should tell their own story.
Okay.
To be honest. But if I need to, I'm not averse to it, but nah.
Another thing that you've been doing that's fascinating to me is teaching at MIT.
Yeah.
And I saw you have a course that you did 2 years. I know you're trying to make that something more maybe permanent.
Well, yeah, they offered me. I'm literally sitting on a contract on my phone now that I'm supposed to sign for another 3 years. There, so I spent 2 years teaching, being a visiting scholar with the MLK program.
Rap Theory and Practice.
Rap Theory and Practice is the name of the class.
I like that because imagine you take a class like that. I remember in college I took screenwriting, and then at the end you can have a whole script.
Yeah.
And so these kids can take Rap Theory and then the other part that's practice and actually have an album.
Oh, they do. So at the end they'll have the first version of the class, which is a bigger class, a lot of students. They had to do like a 7-song EP. So that was their final project.
That's a big deal because that's something they can take and actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
But short, because it was like I'm not finna listen to like 20 albums. Like I'm not finna do that.
Anybody good enough that you would want to get them a deal?
Oh, absolutely. There's folks who take the class who are already like releasing music, and then there's other cats who are grad students. So if you it's MIT course, but it's cross registered. So if you're a Harvard student, you can take the class. Mass Art, Wellesley, and I forgot what the other school is. Apologize, but anyway, so MIT students kind of get privilege on it, and then it's for undergrads and grad students. So there's some grad students who are like really could be signed to Rhyme Sayers.
First and 15, yeah.
I can't. I just rap when it comes to First 15, but they like super talented. And then the way we structure the class, you're learning about physics, you're learning about physiology, you're learning about all the things that you would expect from a class at MIT, even though it's in the humanities department. But it's rich, it's deep. They did this class this year was a smaller class on purpose because the 25 people was like a lot to do. Everybody doing the EP is like a little crazy. But they did a freestyle competition. They did an EL Dub freestyle competition. We had some of the folks from End of the Week come out and judge it. So they did that. And then they did a recital with the jazz ensemble at MIT. So they did a big performance, which went over like gangbusters that they really loved. And then they did the different little works and projects. And then some people still did that EP. So it's dope. It's dope to see that.
I bet everybody want to be in that class.
It's very popular.
I bet it is.
It's very popular, yes.
Is it wild to you that you can say something and like critique something and then it turns into a whole other snowball situation because it's you?
Yeah, but you got to be careful, it's a responsibility, so it can go both ways. I think there's some people who like, I tell them like, you don't need to take my class, right? And then people that do manage to get into my class, I try and have a range.
Oh, no, I'm talking about on social media. You personally.
Oh, we're jumping off of it.
Yeah, we're
into
jumping
social
off
media.
of that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we segued into that.
Jesus Christ.
No, how many times do you start to type something and then
gold-plated flowers? Is this what this is?
How many times do you
flowers?
start to type something and then delete it? Does that happen to you a lot?
I'm not on social media anymore.
Okay,
so
you
that's
got
that. That's that. Just so we're clear, so everybody knows. If you didn't say I'm not, I peek in,
you.
I lurk. But we have a team now, like I
Okay.
should have had, 10 years ago.
It helps.
And I talk about, hey, I want to talk about this. Let's do that. But I mean, I have a reputation for being the guy with the bad takes at the wrong time, right? And I don't know how to like manage certain situations very well. I have a resting bitch face. And so you mix all that together, and it just becomes like, I hate Lupe Fiasco. Like, I hate him. Like, I love his music and I like Kick Push and Skateboarding, but I dislike this dude because he said bop, 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 bop.
Maybe you embrace being the heel, the bad guy.
But I don't. What I'll pull this back. I do think I'm a villain, right? For various reasons, but not for the reasons that people think.
Okay, what are the reasons that you are?
That I can't get into that right now.
Uh-oh.
They'll be knocking on this door. And subpoenaing this interview right here.
Okay.
No, but it's really just like, I've seen a lot of terrible things, and I've been around a lot of terrible people who get away with shit scot-free, and I've seen a lot of people get injured and a lot of people get, mentally and spiritually destroyed around people who don't be knowing what the fuck they be talking about, So I see dudes with all of the bells and whistles, and they got the backdrop, and they got the mic and the whole thing, and the followers, and 20,000 people in the room, and blah, 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 blah. And for 3 straight hours, talk about something that they have zero idea about what it is. They're just giving their opinion, right? and they're not really giving you the 360 opinion, no pun intended, of like all of the, I think a responsible critic of society or responsible voice in whatever culture it is should at least be informed to understand that the facts or the things that they're saying are wrong.
Right.
You know, or that there's a context to it that you're either leaving out for the sake of this particular audience that you're trying to raise. You trying to fuck somebody, or you trying to like get some money from somebody. And I know the rules change when that happens. So I'll be recognizing like, oh, this ain't what that is. Mm-hmm. Like this dude trying to make money, this girl trying to make some money, this person's trying to do this. So that this is just a means to an end for them. And the flip side of that is I've been around people that are so authentic, that are so real that I can tell the difference almost instantly. Right. And I'm sitting in the spot where as an artist, the definition of the role an artist is supposed to play in a spokesperson in society is supposed to go along with what the fuck we say, right? Like you just supposed to toe the party line, right? You not supposed to, we had a crazy conversation in the car. We're not going to do it.
Oh, no?
But they know.
In the car?
They know. So we having a conversation in the car where it's like something is said that's wild, extra wild. Right? But it's true. But if we ever said that, it's over with.
Okay, I get you.
So you got to sit there in a certain amount of silence, but also you talk to hundreds of thousands and millions of people.
Right.
But you got to be silent about.
But you can't be honest.
So it rips me apart. So that's why.
You think this music business is like in shambles right now with so many things, and there's a lot going on. I feel like every day is something else.
Nah, I mean, certain people are timing out. Mm-hmm. Certain contracts are coming up. The Atlantic people are trying to make, and people are making connections. Right. That are like, no, that's not why dude stepped down. That was.
Yeah, the timing of it was already happening.
Yeah,
that was in motion.
There was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
But I do think technology took a bite out of them. But this is what you got to understand. They own Spotify. The label dudes who are stepping down, they got shares of the company. Mm-hmm. So for them, they're winning. Right, you got to look at it as like this wasn't a community effort. This was a Craig Cowman effort. This was for me personally to extract as much value out of my situation as I possibly could. Mm-hmm. And you all are just tools in that space, right? I'm the body. You're tools. That's a Mason reference for people out there who want to throw that out there. Everybody else is just a tool. Once you realize that and you think like, is it in shambles? It was always in shambles.
Right. It was kind of set up to topple at some point.
Yeah, it was set up to extract value as an outpost colonially, extract value from this place as much as we can. Mm-hmm. And then once the ecosystem starts to collapse, right? It's unsustainable to pull water out of the ground now because now you got these sinkholes. Right, so we pulled all the water out. The ground is literally starting to collapse. We're gonna move on to something else.
And you know, it's good for you right now. This time, I think, because you have access to be able to do things how you want to do it, where you don't need to be part of that machine. So you can do what you need to do.
I was in that machine, but it didn't want me. It like you in the machine and it don't want to put out your records. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what's the point?
Anonymous, we need your help.
But to your point, like yes, when it's all said and done. I'm in a very beautiful place, right? I get to be around my friends in music. I get to see, like I was with Robert Glasper last night in The Experiment.
I saw him posting you.
And I was in the crowd, right? And it was like, this is dope. Like this is what music is. Like Robert can go fill up a stadium for real, right? But he's at the Blue Note for the next like 30 days performing for just as many people as the Blue Note can hold.
Right.
And he's just up there doing what he does, which is play piano and make beautiful music. And I think at the end of the day, to be able to say like, man, I'm able to go see my friends play beautiful music. I can jump on the train and go from Brooklyn to downtown and be chilling, right? but still be able to, if I wanted to, take that train to JFK and be in Tokyo tonight, you know, vibing in the club with my homies, with the finest of the finest, chilling. And then if I needed a Rolls Royce to come pick me up, I could do that, or I could
freedom
walk.
To move
like that. Listen. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Craig. You know, thank you, Atlantic Records. Thank you, Anonymous. Thank my fans. Thank you, Angela. Thank you all, because at the end of the day, it kind of coalesced into having, like, I think to this point, a beautiful life.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming through. The tour is happening right now. I know also you are selling limited editions at each stop, right? Of a mixtape. Yeah, 10. Is that
funny part? I gotta go back to the hotel and put it together. It's not even done. I gotta do some freestyles.
So you made this announcement in advance, but
it's happening.
Okay.
But what do you expect? You're going like 6 songs. Relax. You know, but you got
all right. So people can get it, right? You have to buy the first people to buy $100 worth of merch.
Yeah,
I saw you write this. I don't know.
$100
You're making
worth
this
of merch.
up as you go along.
I'm not. I'm making a mixtape up as I go along. But $100, spend $100 at the merch booth. We got 10 copies of the mixtape in each city. Hopefully, there's only so many physicals. So once the physicals are gone, it's gonna go to the digitals.
Okay.
Right? Or we might do like a little mix, 5 and 5. But anyway, spend $100, get a mixtape, get some unreleased Lupe records, get some new records, get some remixes, right? Get some other little banter and whatever else I feel like I need to throw in there. But by the time we get to the end of the tour, it's probably gonna be like 100 songs and freestyles and all type of stuff on that. But anyway, yeah.
Well, that's great. See, we gotta make sure we talk about all the things too.
Yeah,
Thank
you, Angela.
All right. Well, thank you, Lupe Fiasco, for coming through. Samurai is available right now. Make sure you check that out. The tour is happening right now at Hartford, Philly, Boston, Fort Collins, Denver, all these stops. Make sure you guys check it out. Of course, Norfolk, San Francisco, LA, Cleveland, Columbus, all the places. It's way up.